2 million followers watched their dream road trip. Nobody saw the nightmare behind the camera. Miles' ghost hunter here. When the van stopped, only one of them walked away. September 1st, 2021. A white Ford Transit van pulls into the driveway of a single-story house on Wabasso Avenue in Northport, Florida. The engine dies. The driver's door opens. Brian Laundrie steps out. He is 23 years old. He walks inside the house where his parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, are waiting. He closes the door behind him. Nobody else gets out of the van, because Gabby Petito is not in the van. Gabby Petito, his girlfriend of 3 years, the woman whose name is on the vehicle registration, the woman who left New York with him 2 months ago on the road trip of a lifetime, is not there. And for the next 10 days, not a single person in that house on Wabasso Avenue will say a word about where she is. Not one word. To understand what really happened, you need to know who Gabby Petito was before she became a headline, before she became a hashtag, before 2 million strangers started arguing about her life in comment sections. She was a person, a specific, real, living person with a voice and a laugh, and plans for her future. And this is where the story begins. Gabrielle Venora Petito was born on March 19th, 1999, in Blue Point, New York. A small community on the south shore of Long Island, the kind of place where everyone knows your parents, and your parents know the neighbors, and the neighbors have been there since before you were born. Her mother was Nicole Schmidt. Her father was Joseph Petito. They separated when Gabby was young. Nicole remarried a man named James Schmidt. Joseph remarried a woman named Tara Petito. Gabby ended up with step-siblings on both sides, a sprawling, complicated, loving family split across 2 households. She graduated from Bayport Blue Point High School in 2017. She was artistic. She drew. She painted. She had an eye for visual composition that would later define her entire online presence. She was not the loudest person in the room, but she was the one you remembered. Friends described her as gentle, creative, someone who noticed things other people missed. The way light fell on a building, the texture of peeling paint, the shape of a cloud. She had a tattoo on her forearm. 3 words. __quote_0___. She met Brian Laundrie in high school. Not at Bayport Blue Point, Brian attended a different school, but through mutual connections on Long Island. They started dating around 2018. To everyone who knew them, they seemed like a good match. Both were into outdoor activities, nature, the aesthetic of adventure. They shared a vision of a life that looked different from the suburban norm. Van life. Off the grid, Instagram sunsets and campfire coffee. By 2020, Gabby and Brian were living together at the Laundrie family home in Northport, Florida. They had moved in with his parents to save money. The plan was simple and ambitious. Buy a van, convert it into a mobile home, and drive across the country. Document everything, build a following, create a life that other people would envy. They bought a white 2012 Ford Transit Connect. They gutted it. They rebuilt the interior, bed platforms, storage, curtains. They called their project Nomadic Static. They launched a YouTube channel. They built an Instagram following that would eventually reach over 2 million people. On July 2nd, 2021, they left Northport in the white van. The route? South Florida to the American West. National parks, open roads, content for the channel. This was supposed to be the beginning of everything. Gabby's last YouTube video was posted on August 19th, 2021. It was called Van Life, Beginning Our Van Life Journey. 8 minutes and 36 seconds of carefully edited footage. The van conversion, scenic drives, the 2 of them smiling. It looked exactly like the dream. It has since been viewed over 40 million times. 40 million people have watched a dead woman narrate her own happiness. But by the time that video was posted, something had already gone wrong. and the first people to witness it were two police officers in Moab, Utah, who had no idea what they were looking at. August 12, 2021, Moab, Utah. A 911 call comes in at 4:34 in the afternoon. A witness reports seeing a man and a woman near a white van in front of the Moonflower Community Cooperative. The man appeared to be slapping the woman. The caller uses the word slapping. The dispatcher logs it. Two officers from the Moab City Police Department respond. Officer Daniel Robbins and Officer Eric Pratt locate the white Ford Transit van heading north on U.S. Route 191. They initiate a traffic stop. What happens next is captured on body-worn cameras. The footage would later be viewed hundreds of millions of times. It runs for over an hour. It is one of the most scrutinized pieces of police footage in American history, and it is devastating. When the officers approach the van, Brian Laundrie is driving. He pulls over. He is calm. He is cooperative. He steps out of the vehicle and speaks to the officers in a measured, controlled tone. Gabby Petito is in the passenger seat. She is not calm. She is crying. Her breathing is rapid. Her face is red and swollen. She has visible scratch marks on her left cheek and the bridge of her nose. She is trembling. Over the course of the next 70 minutes, the officers separate Gabby and Brian and interview them individually. Brian tells the officers that Gabby was having a bad day. He says she suffers from anxiety and OCD. He says they had a disagreement about the cleanliness of the van, and it escalated. He says she grabbed the steering wheel while he was driving. He shows the officers scratches on his face and arm. He says Gabby caused them. Gabby, sobbing, tells the officers a different version. She says she hit Brian first. She says she was trying to get into the van, and he pushed her. She says she slapped him. She says she is sorry. She apologizes multiple times. She takes responsibility for the physical contact. Here is what the body camera shows that Gabby does not say. She is hyperventilating. She cannot maintain eye contact. She keeps looking down. She keeps apologizing. She describes herself as the problem. She says Brian is her whole life. She says she does not want to be separated from him. She begs the officers not to file charges. The 911 caller said a man was slapping a woman. The officers now have a woman with facial injuries who is taking the blame for everything. Under Moab City Police Protocol and Utah state law, the officers determine that this is a domestic incident. They classify Gabby as the primary aggressor based on her own statements. They do not arrest anyone. They separate the couple for the night. Brian is given a hotel room. Gabby stays with the van. The officers tell both of them to take some time apart and cool down. They wish them well. They drive away. 27 days later, Gabby Petito will be dead. Miles GhostHunter has read the independent investigation report, filed later by the Price City Police Department, regarding the Moab officers' response that day. The report found that the officers made several mistakes. They failed to correctly identify the victim. They failed to cite Brian Laundrie for domestic assault despite probable cause. They misapplied the law. Officer Robbins was placed on probation. Officer Pratt was eventually separated from the Moab City Police Department. But that is hindsight. On August 12th, the officers drove away, and the white van kept moving. After the Moab incident, Gabby and Brian continued west. They visited Arches National Park, Canyonlands. They moved through Utah toward Wyoming. They were still posting, matching their description, arguing, raised voices, tension. By late August, the white van was parked at Spread Creek Dispersed Camping Area in Bridger-Teton National Forest, just south of the entrance to Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. Spread Creek is a remote, free camping area. No reservations, no rangers on permanent patrol. People pull their vehicles off a dirt road and camp among the sagebrush and cottonwood trees, with the Teton Range in the distance. This is where Gabby Petito's trail goes cold. And this is where the versions start to fracture. Because everything after Spread Creek comes filtered through silence, lies, and forensic reconstruction. What Miles' Ghost Hunter is about to lay out for you is the timeline as it was pieced together by the FBI, the Teton County coroner, digital forensics, and civilian witnesses. Some of it is confirmed fact, some of it is established through evidence, and some of it comes from words written in a notebook found next to a skeleton in a Florida swamp. August 24th, 2021. Gabby Petito has a FaceTime call with her mother, Nicole Schmidt. According to Nicole, Gabby seemed off, distracted. But she said she was fine. She said they were heading to Grand Teton and then Yellowstone. Everything was on schedule. August 25th. Gabby and Brian check into a hotel, the Fairfield Inn in Salt Lake City, Utah. This is unusual. They have been living in the van for nearly 2 months. Why a hotel? The room was booked in Brian's name. Investigators would later examine surveillance footage from the hotel. They were there. They checked out the next day. August 26th. They drive north from Salt Lake City toward the Tetons. They return to Spread Creek. August 27th. This is the critical day. Travel bloggers Jen and Kyle Bethune were driving along the road at Spread Creek dispersed camping area in the early evening. Their vehicle had a dash cam running. At approximately 6:15 in the evening, their dash cam captured the white Ford Transit van parked on the side of the road at Spread Creek. The van was there. This footage would later become a key piece of evidence because it placed the van at the exact location where Gabby's remains would be found, on the exact date that falls within the estimated window of her death. The Bethunes did not know what they had recorded. They would not realize it for weeks. August 27th or 28th. This is the estimated window. Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue would later determine that Gabby Petito died within this time frame. The cause, manual strangulation. The manner, the taking of another person's life. The body was found approximately 900 feet from where the van had been parked. She was 22 years old. Now here is where the silence begins. And the silence is where the real investigation starts. August 29th. Brian Laundrie is seen on surveillance footage alone, without the van, at a storage facility in Lathrop, California. But this was later debunked and clarified as a misidentification. The actual confirmed timeline places Brian back in the van, driving east. August 30th. A text message is sent from Gabby Petito's phone to her mother, Nicole Schmidt. It reads, "Can you help Stan? I just prior to getting to Yellowstone, so prior. The message references Gabby's grandfather by his first name. Nicole Schmidt would later tell investigators that Gabby never called her grandfather, quote, _4__. She always called him, quote, _5__. Nicole became suspicious immediately. She believed the text was not written by her daughter. She believed someone else sent it. This is the moment, right here. This is the moment when Nicole Schmidt knew something was wrong. Not suspected, knew. Because she knew her daughter's voice, and that text did not have it. September 1st. The white Ford Transit van arrives at the Laundrie family home in Northport, Florida. Brian is driving. He is alone. He does not call Nicole Schmidt. He does not call Joseph Petito. He does not contact any member of Gabby's family to explain where their daughter is. He walks into the house and closes the door. His parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, do not contact Gabby's family either. Not that day, not the next day, not the day after that. September 2nd, Brian Laundrie goes on a camping trip with his parents to Fort DeSoto Park in Pinellas County, Florida. They arrive in a pickup truck pulling a camper. They stay until September 8th, 5 days. A family camping trip. While Gabby Petito's family is calling, texting, leaving voicemails, hearing nothing back. Nobody in the Laundrie household responds to a single attempt at contact. September 6th, Nicole Schmidt sends her first text directly to Brian Laundrie's phone. She asks where Gabby is. No response. She texts the Laundrie parents. No response. September 10th. Nicole Schmidt calls the Northport Police Department and reports that she has not heard from her daughter since late August, and that Brian Laundrie has returned home without her and refuses to communicate. Northport police logged the call. September 11th, Nicole Schmidt and Joseph Petito formally file a missing person report with the Suffolk County Police Department in New York. This is the official start of the investigation. And here is the wall, the first wall that investigators hit, the wall they could not get past for days. Brian Laundrie, through his family's attorney Stephen Bertolino, exercises his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. He does not speak to investigators. He does not provide a statement. He does not explain where Gabby is. He does not explain why he drove her van 2,500 miles home without her. He does not explain the text message from her phone. He does not explain anything. The attorney issues a brief public statement on September 14th. Quote, 6, later adjusted to, quote, 7. The family references hope for Gabby's safe return. The public is watching. By this point, the story has gone massively viral. The hashtag Gabby Petito is trending on every social media platform. TikTok investigators are analyzing body camera footage frame by frame. Reddit threads are mapping Brian's possible movements. Tens of thousands of people are speculating, theorizing, demanding answers, and Brian Laundrie is sitting in his parents' house in Northport, saying absolutely nothing. Northport police are in a bind. They have no body. They have no crime scene. They have no evidence of a crime on Florida soil. Brian Laundrie is legally entitled to silence. Being a terrible human being is not a criminal offense. Driving your girlfriend's van home without her is suspicious but not, in itself, illegal. The police cannot compel him to speak. They cannot arrest him. They have nothing, yet. They put surveillance on the Wabasso Avenue house. Officers sit in unmarked vehicles across the street. They watch the front door. They watch the garage. And then, on September 17th, the Laundrie family contacts their attorney. The attorney contacts Northport police. Brian Laundrie, his parents say, left home on September 13th to go hiking in the Carlton Reserve, a 25,000-acre nature preserve and swamp area about 15 miles from their home. September 13th. That was 4 days ago. Brian Laundrie has been gone for 4 days, and his parents are just now telling the police. Think about that. 4 days. Their son is a person of interest in a missing person case that has become the most publicized investigation in the country. And his parents waited 4 days to mention that he walked into a swamp and never came back. The search shifts. Everything moves to the Carlton Reserve. Law enforcement deploys boats, ATVs, dive teams, K9 units, drones, helicopters. They are searching acres of Florida swampland, chest-deep water, alligators, venomous snakes, impenetrable vegetation. Thousands of man-hours, day after day after day. Meanwhile, in Wyoming, a parallel investigation is closing in on the truth. September 19th, 2021. FBI agents and investigators from the National Park Service conduct a ground search of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Bridger-Teton National Forest. They are working from the dashcam footage provided by Jen and Kyle Buffoon, which pinpointed the van's location on August 27th. At approximately 1 in the afternoon Mountain Time, investigators locate human remains in an area of brush and grass, approximately 900 feet from where the van had been parked. The remains are consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. The next day, September 20th, the Teton County Coroner's Office confirms the remains are those of Gabby Petito. The initial finding is that the manner of death was the taking of another person's life. Gabby has been found. She was out there the whole time, while Brian was driving home, while Brian was camping with his parents at Fort DeSoto, while Brian's attorney was issuing statements about hoping for her safe return, while the internet was arguing about what happened. She was lying in the sagebrush at the foot of the Tetons, 900 feet from where 2 million followers had watched her park her van and smile for the camera. On October 12, 2021, Teton County Coroner Dr. Brent Blue held a press conference and released the official results of the autopsy. Cause of death: strangulation by a human being. Manner: the life was taken by another person's hands. Dr. Blue confirmed the estimated date of death was between August 27th and August 28th, consistent with the dashcam evidence and the digital timeline. He was asked during the press conference whether there were other injuries. He declined to provide additional details. He said only that the cause of death was strangulation and that it took 3 to 4 minutes. 3 to 4 minutes. Miles GhostHunter wants you to sit with that number for a moment. 3 to 4 minutes is not an instant. It is not a flash of rage that ends before the brain catches up. 3 to 4 minutes is long enough to stop. It is long enough to see what you are doing. It is long enough to make a choice, more than once, to continue. 3 to 4 minutes of sustained, deliberate pressure, and then it was over. And then Brian Laundrie got in the van, and then he drove east, alone. On September 23, 2021, the United States District Court for the District of Wyoming issued a federal arrest warrant for Brian Christopher Laundrie. The charge: unauthorized use of a Capital One debit card, specifically the use of a card belonging to another person to access funds totaling more than $1,000 between August 30th and September 1st. Read that again. The federal warrant was not for taking a life. It was for using a bank card. That was the only charge they could file while he was alive, because Brian Laundrie was still missing, and you cannot try someone who is not there. The search of the Carlton Reserve continued through late September and into October. 25,000 acres of swamp, alligators, thunderstorms. Every day teams went in. Every day they came out with nothing. Then, on October 20th, 2021, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie went to Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, a smaller park adjacent to the Carlton Reserve, to search for their son themselves. They arrived at the park around 7:30 in the morning. Within 90 minutes, Christopher Laundrie located a white dry bag and a backpack belonging to his son in an area that had previously been submerged underwater. Law enforcement was called. They arrived and expanded the search. Near the bag and backpack, they found human skeletal remains, a notebook, a revolver. The remains were confirmed through dental records on October 21st. Brian Christopher Laundrie, 23 years old. The medical examiner ruled the cause of death, a single self-inflicted wound. The FBI confirmed that the notebook found near the remains contained statements from Brian Laundrie, in which he claimed responsibility for Gabby Petito's death. He wrote that he ended her life. He wrote that he believed it was merciful. That word, merciful. It appeared in reporting about the notebook's contents. Miles GhostHunter does not have the full text. It has not been publicly released. But the word was attributed to Brian Laundrie's own writing. He called what he did merciful. 3 to 4 minutes of strangulation. Merciful. The FBI officially closed the case on January 21st, 2022. Their statement read, __quote_8__, case closed, no trial, no testimony, no cross-examination, no victim impact statement read in a courtroom, no sentence handed down by a judge, no opportunity for Nicole Schmidt to look at the person who took her daughter and tell him what he destroyed. Brian Laundrie wrote his own ending, and he wrote it in a notebook in a swamp before anyone else could write it for him. But the story does not end in a swamp. It does not end with a closed FBI file. It ends with the living. Now, Miles, Ghost Hunter, wants to talk about what you actually witnessed in this case. Because you did witness it. Millions of people did. And what you witnessed was not just a tragedy. It was a system failing in real time. In front of a global audience. Go back to Moab. August 12th. Two police officers stand on the side of a highway in Utah with a sobbing young woman who has visible injuries on her face. A 911 caller told dispatch that a man was slapping a woman. The officers have a woman with marks on her face and a man with scratches. The woman is apologizing, blaming herself, begging them not to take action. The man is calm, composed, and cooperative. The officers make a decision. They classify the crying, injured woman as the primary aggressor. They give the calm, scratched man a hotel room for the night. They drive away. The independent investigation by Captain Brandon Ratcliffe of the Price City Police Department, completed in January 2022, found that officers Robbins and Pratt failed to follow proper procedures. They failed to identify the primary aggressor correctly. They failed to consider the totality of the evidence. The 911 caller described a man striking a woman. Gabby had injuries consistent with being grabbed, not with initiating an attack. Brian's scratches were consistent with defensive wounds, someone trying to push hands away from their body. The officers saw what they thought they saw, a hysterical woman and a calm man, and they chose the calm one as the credible narrator. This is not unique to Moab. This is a pattern. Studies in domestic violence response have documented it for decades. The person who is crying, emotional, and incoherent is often perceived as unstable. The person who is calm, rational, and cooperative is often perceived as the reasonable party. In reality, the emotional one is frequently the person in distress. The calm one is frequently the person who has done this before and knows how to manage the situation. The Moab officers did not invent this mistake, but they made it, and it mattered. After the Moab stop, after Brian Laundrie returned to Florida alone, after the missing person report was filed, the public response was unlike anything in recent memory. Gabby Petito became the most searched name in the United States. Her face was on every news broadcast. Her Instagram was dissected post by post. Every smile was re-examined. Every caption was reread for hidden meaning. And with that public attention came a phrase that Miles Ghost Hunter needs to address directly, because it matters. The phrase was, missing white woman syndrome. The term was coined by journalist Gwen Ifill in 2004. It describes the disproportionate media attention given to missing persons cases involving young, white, conventionally attractive women compared to cases involving people of color, men, older women, or individuals from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. In the weeks following Gabby Petito's disappearance, multiple commentators pointed out that at the same time Gabby's case was dominating every headline, hundreds of indigenous women were missing or had been found dead near the same national parks and reservations in Wyoming and across the American West, and their cases received a fraction of the coverage. They were right. The disparity is real, and it is documented. In Wyoming alone, 710 indigenous people were reported missing between 2011 and 2020, according to a state report. Many of those cases received no national media attention whatsoever. The same algorithms that pushed Gabby's story to every screen in the country did not push theirs. Gabby Petito did not cause that disparity. She was a victim. She did not choose to become a symbol. But the machinery of attention that surrounded her case, the very machinery that Miles Ghost Hunter operates within, selects for certain stories and ignores others. That is a fact. And this case forced the country to look at that fact, however briefly, before looking away again. Nicole Schmidt, to her credit, acknowledged this publicly. She said she wanted the attention on her daughter's case to help other families. She said every missing person deserves the same effort. Whether the system has changed meaningfully since then is another question. And the answer, as of the date of this recording, is largely no. Now, the civil case. In March 2022, the Petito-Schmidt family filed a civil lawsuit against Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, Brian's parents. The lawsuit alleged that the Laundries knew their son had killed Gabby Petito and actively conspired to help him flee. The suit cited the family camping trip to Fort DeSoto Park and the Laundries' refusal to respond to the Petito family's desperate attempts at contact. The suit also alleged that a letter had been drafted by the Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, in September 2021, before Brian's disappearance, that included the line, "If you want to talk to Brian, I suggest you call the FBI." The Petito family argued that this demonstrated the Laundries were aware of the situation and were actively obstructing communication while their son planned his disappearance. The Laundries denied the allegations. They claimed they were following their attorney's advice and did not know the details of what had happened in Wyoming. In 2024, the case was settled. The terms were not fully disclosed. The Petito-Schmidt family released a statement saying the resolution allowed them to continue their advocacy work through the Gabby Petito Foundation. The foundation, established by Nicole Schmidt and Joseph Petito, focuses on supporting organizations that address domestic situations, fund search efforts for missing persons, and provide resources for people in unsafe relationships. Gabby's parents have spoken at multiple events and before legislative bodies. Several states introduced versions of Gabby's Law, aimed at improving law enforcement response to domestic incidents, mandatory reporting protocols, and cross-jurisdictional communication in missing person cases. Whether those laws will prevent the next Gabby Petito is something Miles GhostHunter cannot answer. What Miles GhostHunter can tell you is this: the systems that failed her, the police stop in Moab, the legal right to silence that allowed Brian Laundrie to say nothing for weeks, the 4-day delay in reporting his disappearance, the jurisdictional gaps between Utah, Wyoming, and Florida. Those systems are still largely intact. Some have been patched, most have not. There is one more thing Miles GhostHunter wants to leave you with. It is not about systems or laws or media criticism. It is about the last video. Go back to YouTube, search Nomadic Static. You will find a single video posted August 19th, 2021. Van life. Beginning our van life journey. 8 minutes and 36 seconds. Gabby Petito narrates. She shows the van conversion. She shows the open road. She talks about the future. She smiles. Watch it knowing what you know now. Watch it knowing that the person behind the camera, the person she built her dream with, the person she drove across the country with, would end her life within days of that video being posted. Watch it knowing that 2 million people subscribed to a dream, and the dream was already over before the video went live. That is the thing about this case that Miles GhostHunter cannot file away in an evidence box. The footage exists. The smile exists. The let it be tattoo exists. The happy music exists. And it is all real. And it is all a lie. And Gabby Petito did not know it was a lie when she was living it. Or maybe she did. Maybe the crying in Moab was the truth, and the Instagram was the performance. Maybe she knew exactly how bad it was and could not find a way out. Maybe the system, not just the legal system, but the social system, the one that rewards the performance of happiness and punishes the admission of pain. Maybe that system held her in place as surely as any lock. She was 22 years old. 2 million followers watched the dream road trip. Nobody saw a thing. Miles GhostHunter. This was a case file, not a fairy tale. And if this kept you up tonight, good. Because what comes next is worse. The next case file is Susan Powell, a mother of 2 who vanished from her home in West Valley City, Utah, in December 2009. Her husband told the police he took the boys camping, in a snowstorm, at midnight, in December, and the system believed him, for years, until the day he locked his 2 sons inside a house and set it on fire. That story, next time. Miles Ghost Hunter does not say goodbye. Miles Ghost Hunter says, lock your doors.